recording right off the bat, I think. Yeah, I'm recording. I just got home. I know you just got home. And we had the chance to go to see the, what do you call it? The screen unseen or whatever. The different, there's Regal had one, AMC had one. And I sat there in my seat, dude. Even though it was like confirmed by so many different sources and like people, and I felt like 95% sure. At the same time, I fully expected like Megan it was PG-13, so I don't know what would have shown up, but something else. I kept joking that like Smurfs was gonna pop up because I keep seeing like ads for that. And as soon as trailers started rolling, and all of a sudden I'm like, okay, this is a Universal movie. Or the first thing that popped up was a Godzilla trailer. And I'm like, okay, we're on the right path. Then a Universal movie, then this movie, then that movie, then Wicked. And I'm like, okay, we got this. Whew. And then Jonathan Bailey and Scarlett Johansson come on the screen and say, hey guys, we got something special for you. I was like, yes, we did it finally. Oh, was yours about the same for all that?
Same. I'm sitting there, the same thing, like, I heard here and there and whatever that this was going to be it. And I'm sitting in the theater and I'm waiting for my girlfriend Kat to get there because she was somewhere else. And so I'm already like antsy because she hasn't gotten her there yet. And that's just how I am. Like if I invite somebody, I'm kind of like, oh, when are they getting here? Yeah. But I'm seeing the trailers and I'm seeing some kid film trailers and I'm like, oh man, but it is PG-13. So I'm like, all right. And then I see a movie that has Scarlett in it, and then I see Wicked that has Jonathan Bailey, and I'm like, they're promoting their movies. I think this is it. And then Kat gets there. She's like, do you want any snacks and stuff? I'm like, you are so lucky. It hasn't started yet. They're showing so many trailers right now. I thought it was going to go like immediately into the movie. I didn't think there was going to be trailers because I never been to an unseen screen movie before, right? So she comes in, she sits down, and all of a sudden it's like you see what's her name? I forget the actress's name. Nicole Kidman, I think it is, right? Is it Nicole Kidman?
Yeah, she does those little pre-roll things. With Jurassic World comes on the screen and everything.
Yeah. And then she sits down and we're like, oh, there she is. Okay, whatever it is, it's coming up. And then you see Scarlett and Jonathan Bailey. I'm like, all right, it's it. Okay, cool. And yeah, man, then the excitement and the adrenaline start rolling, and I'm like, oh man, please be good, please be good. Like all fans, we're all like, I hope it's a good movie, But yeah, that was my experience, like sitting there just because I got there at 7. I'm sitting there for like 20 minutes, just like, oh man, is this the movie or not? Like,
is it
please?
Gonna happen?
I know. I'm like,
I got there way earlier than I ever get to any movie. I usually roll up like right at the start time because I know there's going to be 20 minutes of trailers or whatever. But I got there at like 6:30 and I'm like just standing around. I'm like antsy. I'm like looking at the exits. I'm like, I don't know what to do, dude. I don't know where to look because I don't usually stand around the lobby. So like I was just standing around and like I went and sat in my seat for a few minutes. Then I got back up and went in the lobby again. My wife's there with me. And then we ordered some food. We're waiting for food. My sister shows up and then we go in and then all the trailers happen. And, you had mentioned like you weren't sure either because I wasn't sure because I just went to go see Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, which was like a Fathom Events screening. And the movie started right at the start time. Like there was no trailers or anything. It just started. And now I'm like, oh God, I've never been to this screen unseen. I think I heard that there was trailers, but I don't remember. And yes, there was. But so that was the general vibe, kind of walking into the building, not really knowing what's about to happen. And the movie starts. And I think, I did like a vibe check, and that I reached out for a lot of like, all right, put it on social media, like call in, let me know what you're thinking. I did one myself and I was just like, I'm excited, but I'm like, I've got a lot of concerns. And I think at the end of the day, after seeing this movie, I think my vibe is still exactly the same in a lot of ways. Like I'm very excited by what I saw. I still have a lot of concerns. So I think I'm kind of right there. And, you had asked me like right at the top before we started, like, where do you put this? Like, where do you rank it? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, I still really don't have full rankings set or anything, but
Right,
it
right.
just like very quickly, I'm like, and let me just preface this because like I really love the Jurassic World movies. I know I'm kind of
Mhm.
alone on that island for a lot of factors. Like I really like all of those movies.
Mhm.
And Dominion. Like I love them and I love the originals, Jurassic Park 3 the least of all. Um I think, my initial thought is like, do I like this more than the 3 that just came out? I don't know. I think I could have this at like 6th place or something like that. And that's not me saying that this is a bad movie or anything. I really like those other ones and I've sat with those other ones for a long time.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to find where I sit with this movie. I'm going to see it again in in 2 days. So hopefully we can, have a better feeling, but I think I really like what I saw. I think the action was pretty excellent. There was some really great action. Some of the jokes and stuff fell flat for me. I really like the
Hmm.
the D-Rex stuff. It was visually like stunning and beautiful a lot of the times. Um, I didn't I didn't connect fully with a lot of the characters. I'm going back and forth. Like something I like, something I didn't like. This at times I really liked what the score was doing, and at times I was like, this doesn't really connect with me on a Jurassic level. So I had a
Yeah.
lot of pluses and minuses, I think, with this movie. I'm not gonna sit here and be a hater on the thing. I think I really enjoyed a lot of it. I think the first part of the movie was like it was a little, I don't want to say boring, but like it was a little slow for me.
Hmm.
And it didn't fully connect with me. But once they start to hit these things, it kind of started to connect. And there's a certain moment where I was like, all right, dude, now we're doing it. And I think it was that moment, which I'm not going to say what, because we'll get into some spoilers in just a few minutes after we get
Mhm.
Jay's thoughts. But like, I got to this moment where I was like, okay, now all that's left is things that I haven't seen from the trailers. And
Mm.
then I was like, all right, let's cook now. Now we got a lot to show off and a lot to do. And there was only like 10 minutes left at that point because a lot of the movie was already revealed. And I know I really gave a lot of kudos to the film or to the marketing team and everybody for not showing a lot of stuff over the course of the initial marketing period for this movie. They really just showed like people in a field looking at titanosaurs. They showed uh D-Rex in the water, I guess, with Duncan, and then they showed like a few other little scenes, and it was like they kept on expanding upon those, but I think they expanded upon them so much that we like saw a massive chunk of the movie. So there wasn't really a lot of fresh stuff left for me to really indulge, but I think when it comes to like a second viewing, third viewings, whatever, this movie's going to settle a lot, with me, and that first viewing is always a little tough, I think, to kind of like settle your expectations and kind of, just find the right spot in your seat and just like really enjoy this movie. So that's where I'm sitting right now. I had a really good time, but I think there's a lot left there that I'm really thinking about, and we'll get into those details in a little bit. What do you think?
Um, I agree with a lot that you said. One thing in particular is the trailers and the commercials and the TV spots. It did take away from that fresh, like seeing it with fresh eyes kind of thing, where it's like you see little set pieces and it's like, oh, I've seen this. So your brain's already accustomed to like that scene. Like the first time we saw certain scenes in trailers, we're like, wow. But then you see it, and it's like certain things you didn't see, but it was very little. They did spoil a lot, and that's one thing I feel that takes away from the first viewing, like you were just saying. I don't know if it takes away, but it just kind of like there's no surprises, I would say, kind of thing,
Hmm.
you know. Um, but with the feeling that I had is the intro for me, the intro of the film, and as it goes on, I felt that the intro it didn't capture me in the beginning. I was just like, okay, and then you get to that part where you said that it's kind of lacking. For me, I loved what was happening to a certain point, And then it's like just like you said, certain scenes come on and it's stuff is being new and you're like, oh, but then it's just like you said, it's like 10 minutes left. You're like, wait, is that the end? I was like, oh, okay. But I get what you're saying, where how the film is gonna kind of sit when you watch it again, because you were coming in there with certain expectations, because we saw a lot, unfortunately. And I think the next viewing will be you're more comfortable sitting down and actually taking it in rather than expecting it, you know?
Mhm.
So like when we first sat down there, we're just like expecting all these scenes that we've seen already, because little set pieces get you to that point. And I honestly, I hate when movie trailers do that. Unfortunately, they do that a lot now. Um, but I will say that I do feel this one, for me, goes more with the original trilogy. I hold in a different with Jurassic World in like Jurassic World I hold in its own, and then the original trilogy. And this one I feel felt Jurassic to me. It had all those elements that I love from the first two films and even the third, because those all have those type of elements. Whether you guys know my opinion on the third, it's not one of my favorites, but it has grown on me over the years, and Brad knows that. I've told him, right? Um, but it felt like it belonged with them more than it did with the other ones. The Jurassic World trilogy, Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, Dominion, those in a sense have their own kind of feel to them, and this one felt like it almost looks like it should have been before Jurassic World, the way it felt to me, you know.
Mhm.
But those are my initial thoughts before we get into spoiler stuff, you know.
Yeah, all right, so I guess let's just do it then, right? Let's get into
Yeah.
some spoilers. So let's give everybody like a second here to hit the pause button, whatever you got to do to get away from
Mhm.
the app, because I don't want to spoil anything, just in case you
Mhm.
haven't seen the movie or whatever the case may be. But we're gonna talk full spoilers now. So let's go
Mhm.
ahead and do it. Where do you want to go first? Because like we have no notes, by the way. I don't have anything. We literally just got home from seeing the movie, and so some stuff might be, I might forget a lot of it, but I'm gonna do my best. But let me follow up actually with what you were just talking about feeling like Jurassic, or from the original movies. There was a moment, I think, right after they had like washed on shore, that like Jonathan Bailey was like kind of like in this jungle setting right there. And I'm like, dude, this
Mhm.
feels like Jurassic Park 3. It feels like it's got those vibes to it. So I think I get what you mean there. It really felt like it was capturing like the original aesthetic and vibe a lot. But yeah, I don't know. Is there a big spoiler moment that we should start with here? Maybe.
Yeah. Why not?
Let's go to, I don't know. Like I feel all right. So let's just do it this way. Let's just general chat and we'll get into spoilers then, because I can't figure out where to go. But let's just talk about the plot and everything. I want to talk about the fact that this movie kicks off with well, we know it kicks off with that lab sequence, but it also gives us like a lot of like text on screen, which was very different than
Yeah.
your standard Jurassic movie. So that brought me out a little bit, but like I was laughing because it was basically just the synopsis yet again on the screen. We've heard this synopsis 1,000
Yeah.
times about dinosaurs, can't thrive in the wild anymore, so they're going to these equatorial regions and stuff. And so I was laughing about that. That was a little silly, but they said it a lot during the movie, and I was like, I get it, I get it. We don't need to say it like 16 times. So that was interesting for me. Did you have any? How'd you feel about like David Kep's script? Did you like what you were hearing? Was there any issues for you?
So one thing I wanted to point out about the text, I didn't like the font.
Yes. Well, here's the
The
thing. I don't
font
know what it said in the
did
beginning,
not
but
feel Jurassic.
at the end, it was using like the Jurassic World, like Dictora or whatever the font choice is. I forget what it's
Mhm.
called, but like And I was like, "Ooh, that feels like different." I don't remember what Jurassic World ended up using most of the time and on screen,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
there was a
Hmm.
lot of font choices that I was like, "That doesn't feel like the original font choice," or something like that. But yeah,
No, the letters, and if there's one thing I know is fonts, because that's all I ever do is tattoo different fonts, you know? So it just like the letters had this curve to them, and I was like, that doesn't look like Jurassic font at all. It looked almost like Comic Sans font. It was
mhm.
weird. It was like a thick fat font with like curves on it, and it was not for me. It was not like I was like, no, the exposition with them telling us that, and like you said, they repeated in the film. They didn't really need to put that. Just the film itself kind of like lets people know. But I don't know. Maybe some people wouldn't have gotten it. I don't know. But
Yeah. There's this ongoing issue I think with a lot of movies right now, especially in the streaming age, where it's like we have to tell you the motivation of these characters and where we're going, where we're headed a lot because you're staring at your phone as you're sitting on the couch or you're on a laptop or something, you're on the iPad, you're not fully paying attention. And I felt like this movie kind of fell into that trap a little bit by
mm,
explaining a lot of things instead of just telling you or just showing you like there's a good moment in this movie where they show you a character is not a good dude, and that's with Martin Krebs
mhm.
when, Teresa like, slips and falls off the deck of the boat, right? And he just
Yeah.
he just sits there and does nothing about it, and she falls off into the water, and you know that, like, he's a bad dude because of that, but
Mhm.
a few moments before I forget where it was, but, sometime before that, there was, like, a whole conversation with Zora and Duncan about, like, where they are in their lives, and they had to really explain everything, like, verbally, and I was like, "We coulda just done this with, like, a sad look at the picture of his child or, as he's crying or something." Like, there could have been, like, a lot of moments where they showed you these things instead of, like, flat out telling you, "Oh, this is what the issue was." So, the script never really came together like it felt like it did in, like, The Lost World for me or had a lot of
Yeah.
that funny dialogue. You made I think, like, a face or a noise when I mentioned the jokes, like, fell flat for me. How'd they feel for you?
Oh, I liked them. I actually did enjoy them. But I get what you're saying, but I feel, unfortunately, with today's audience, just like you were saying before about the phone and stuff like that, it's like it's almost like if you don't do that, then people get confused now. And it is kind of a little bit of today's audience, because like when you're doing like so it we're gonna go a little bit back in time. If we go into Lost World and Jurassic Park, which has these conversations between characters that felt organic and felt real, right? These movies were made in a different time where people actually went and really enjoy the film rather than have these devices that take all of our attention all the time, just like you said before with Netflix and streaming and stuff, right? So I feel like it's kind of almost like an element they have to put in movies sometimes now, when it's like a movie that's meant for like broader audiences. When you have a focus on a certain type of audience, like Oscar winning movies, they don't make $1 million, but they do have a certain audience, and they love those films. They don't have to do any of that. But with these movies, they're trying to make them blockbusters, and all of a sudden you have to like cater to so many different audiences, unfortunately. And and when that happens, you lose a little bit of that element of like what the older films. That's why you look at Lost World, you look at Jurassic Park, and then after that, it's changed. And if you look at that, when is it the cell phones and streaming and internet and stuff like that became really big? Early 2000s till now,
Mhm.
and you kind of cater to that, and that's where sometimes some things kind of fall flat a little bit. But there is I don't know if you want to go into that, but there is one conversation that the characters have that had me jumping out of my seat, that
Tell
I
me, what was
absolutely
it?
loved. It was when they were in the swamps, right? And they're talking about intelligence. And then Loomis, Jonathan Bailey's character, Henry Loomis, he starts telling him, he's like, intelligence is not really the greatest thing for survival or like whatnot. And then he compares like how dinosaurs don't have that type of intelligence, but yet they live so long. And then he compares it to us and how literally we're so intelligent, but dude, that's me. I've been saying that for the longest time. My girlfriend looked at me and was like, "Oh my God, did they hear you talk?" Because that's me. That's
Dude.
literally what he's saying. And it just like, it gave me goosebumps because I was like, that conversation right there was like my own little boardroom scene, or the lunch scene, or because it was a conversation where it's actually depicting like the reasoning kind of behind how much he loves dinosaurs, and just like I don't know.
Yeah.
I love that conversation. That dialogue was great. Absolutely great.
That was a pretty excellent sequence for sure. They're wading through the water and there's like stuff floating
Mhm.
in the water and swimming past them and stuff, and they're having these like intelligent conversations there. I thought that was really good. Absolute Jurassic vibes for sure.
Yes.
And in that moment, I think right around there, he mentions, that he worked with Dr. Grant. He did
Yeah, yeah.
some sort of studying under Dr. Grant. And I love how he just casually like mentions it, as obviously everybody knows who Dr. Grant is. He doesn't have to explain it.
Mhm.
"Oh, I worked with this paleontologist. His name was Dr. Grant. I don't know if you've ever heard of him." No, he doesn't say that. He's just like, "I worked with Dr. Grant. You know who that is, right?" Like, so he's very
Mhm.
straightforward with that, which I thought was interesting. Um, but dude, I want to talk about these ties. So let's talk about ties to anything at all. Um, there's not many, but
Yeah.
I was hoping for a lot of world building and a lot of like answering surrounding like what's going on with the mutants and this facility and all that stuff. And I gotta say, there really wasn't much more than what we
Yeah.
saw and heard in the trailers and stuff. And it still kind of irks me a little bit that um dude, they're making me be the bad guy this time around, and I hate that because like I've been the champion, dude, for like all 3 Jurassic World movies so far. I've been the one dude that's like, "I love them. Like I'll lay down in the road for them." Like I just but this time around like they just like lost me a little bit with the connections and the ties. And I was hoping they would clarify a little bit about like this is the research facility for the original park. That still wasn't really clarified for me at all. It was still Jurassic World, and it wasn't Jurassic Park based. So I was very confused about
Mhm.
that still. There was no like full connection there. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I was hoping for more there. What did you think about that? That it was just, they put it on the screen, which I thought was interesting. Like they're like 32 years ago, dinosaurs came back from the dead or whatever they said,
Mhm.
and then they also said, all right, now this first part is 17 years ago, which obviously we knew all of this information already from press releases and different things. They said the 17 years ago thing, so we knew that that lab sequence was going to be in 2010 because the movie's set
Mhm.
in 2027. So that 2010 is, 5 years before Jurassic World. They did make reference to, which I thought was nice, that this was like part of the hybrid project, I guess. So this was actually
Mhm.
part of what would become the Indominus. And I think they're just completely blowing off the Scorpius and all that stuff because that would have been
Yeah.
done in 2009 on Nublar. So if we're sticking canonically, I guess we were on Nublar making hybrids, then we went to this place, then we went back to Nublar. Like that doesn't make a lot of sense for me.
Mhm.
So that kind of frustrates me a little bit canonically because it felt like they came in, wrote something that seemed cool, but they didn't really connect the dots with a lot of that stuff.
Right. What I found a little bit they didn't really like, so yeah, that facility was to make mutants or hybrids, right? Um and and it's inferred by a lot of the press stuff and all that this D-Rex was like a mistake, I guess, right? But in the movie itself, it doesn't really go on to that. They have this thing living there. They're like, "Oh, let's go feed it and whatever or whatever." I don't know why they were going in there, first of
Who
all.
know? I don't know. Yeah, I don't
Like,
know what they
why?
were doing.
Like, that guy's eating a Snickers bar, right? And the wrapper
Yeah.
destroys the system, which I found that a little bit Final Destination. I was kind of like, what, really? Okay. That's why I said that remember I said earlier the intro before spoiling it, it didn't really take me in. Like the scene when they showed in the trailer, the guy's like, please, please, whatever. That was
Yeah,
good. But then when you
brutal.
see the whole sequence, I was just like, why the hell was he eating a Snickers bar in just like in this facility where they're trying to keep everything, sterile, and he's walking in there and he just throws it on the ground and everything else is all sterile. It was like a really dumb mistake. I don't know. And I don't understand why they
Well,
had to go into the facility,
mhm.
into his
Yeah.
pen, you know?
I
I
had a
didn't get
buddy
that.
I had a buddy text me after just watching, well, not for the first time, but like rewatching Jurassic Park, and he's like, "Dude, everybody is making dumb mistakes left and right." And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, like that's part of the problem. Like
That's
that's
true. That's
the,
true.
the story of Jurassic Park." And I guess that's what happened here too, right? It felt like a little bit
Yeah.
of a Dennis Nedry kind of, you know, uh, metaphor kind of thing with the candy wrapper and stuff like that. And
Mm,
there is another moment where they like brush a bunch of candy and junk off of the tablet desk thing that they have on the boat. So I was like, that
oh
was very
yeah.
much Nedry. But that intro sequence, you're right. Like for me, they don't really lay out the environment enough. So I don't really know what's going on. And I'm still thinking about
Mhm.
this computer technology that seems like super old, but it's set in 2010, but it's like super futuristic at the same time. And I'm still like, unfortunately, thinking about all of that stuff in my head about like, how does this make sense in this world? And what we see in Jurassic World in 2015, which seems more antiquated than what we see here. So I'm thinking all of this stuff like canonically, and it hurts my brain a little bit to kind of go through all of it. But yeah, I don't think it really made a lot of sense, that intro sequence. And also, there's a helicopter,
No.
like the InGen like helicopter comes
Yeah.
flying in. Is Simon Masrani supposed to be like on that helicopter? Like, because we don't reference that helicopter anymore. Like, it just lands,
No.
and then that's it. There's nothing else from that. So like, what was
Yeah,
that
because
supposed to be? I don't I don't really know.
I saw the helicopter, right, and I'm like, "Wait, that's the one from Jurassic Park," and I'm like, "How is that possible?" And then you start seeing, like, the engine logo, and it looks completely different, and we have seen that before, but now it's kinda like I feel like some stuff they definitely retconned completely. Like, I also was noticing as well when they were talking about the mosasaur, and they were like, "Oh, they tracked it from the park or the whatever." So that's technically the same mosasaur from World, but it looks completely different. So that started to
Yeah.
make me think like, oh, they did retcon stuff. They changed it. So like the looks of certain dinosaurs, look of certain things don't look. It's kind of honestly, it's kind of like what happened with Jurassic Park 3 in a sense with the raptors. We're never we they I know that like fans created like, oh, these are the northern raptors and these are the southern raptors, but that was
No,
never
stop,
true.
stop.
It was
Yeah.
it was supposed to be the same raptor species. They just were like, hey, let's design them differently. Whatever. No
Yeah.
one will notice. And we all did. We're like, wait a
Yeah.
second, why do they look so different? You know? So I think they went with that
Yeah.
type of uh changes or whatever, which I'm not gonna lie to you, I think this design for the Moza is way better than JW. This thing looks so smooth and slick, looks like a giant whale. Those scenes had me at the edge of my seat. Those were incredible.
Yeah.
And another thing, and when you get to that scene too, dude, w- and this is gonna come out of left field for you and everybody else probably that knows me off the podcast and everything else. What happened to the Spinosaurs? They were like in 5 minutes of a scene. That's it. I
Barely.
was expecting more. I was expecting way more of them. They're in all the marketing. They're in all this, and they're in there for like 5 seconds. That's it. The
You
scene's
know,
incredible, but it
yeah.
was just like,
They
what?
had that one little surprise moment on the beach. There was that like one that was really
Yeah,
cool. You know,
that was cool. 'Cause I didn't
little
notice it
moment.
at all.
No, I all of a sudden it just happened, and I was
I
like,
was like,
I I found a lot during this movie that I was like, thinking in like, I don't know if my like eyes closed or what, but like I was thinking in my head. So I ended up like missing some things. So when it came to that Mosasaur dialogue, I was like, wait, did they just say that this is the same Mosasaurus from Jurassic World that like they
Hmm.
tagged and it escaped? And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Like what, why, why do that? I don't really understand. If it's supposed to be the same Mosasaur, make it look the same. I agree with you. I think this one looks far superior. But like,
Uh-huh.
if you've established what it looks like the Apatosaurus in the beginning, which they said
It
was a
looked like the world one.
Brachiosaurus. Did you hear
Oh,
the guy on the
did they?
news? He called it a Brachiosaurus, and I
Oh my
was
god.
like, I was thinking, all right, I'm gonna chalk that up to this is a guy on the news that doesn't know what the
Doesn't
dinosaur
know
is,
dinosaurs. Yeah,
which
yeah.
which is fine because that happens all the time. It happens all the time, and
Mhm.
the amount of times things get called Brontosaurus is
Mhm.
unreal. Like, so I get it. It happens a lot. Even Tim does it in Jurassic Park. He's like, "What is it? One of those Brontosauruses? I mean, Brachiosauruses." So like,
Yeah.
I was wondering if that's what that was, but that was clearly like the Jurassic World. Like they kept the style. It looked like the same Jurassic World Apatosaurus. So I was like, okay,
Mhm.
cool. We're sticking with the same thing, the same formula. Everybody looks the same. Um, I still don't buy into the fact that like dinosaurs are dying off. That still doesn't make any sense to me.
Mm.
But like I like that sequence. I thought that was really cool seeing that thing be I don't know what they were doing with it. Maybe they were gonna fly it out of there or something. Um but yeah, anyway, I think Mosasaurus was awesome. The Spinosaurus is definitely did not have as big of an impact as I expected. And I know a lot of people were like thinking that the Spinosaurus were gonna come out in some big battle against the Distortus Rex. Never happened at all. So
No.
this Distortus Rex actually kind of has like a JP3 ending, like the Spinosaurus, right? Like the Spinosaurus
Yeah.
just kind of just like has that flare moment and then just disappears in the darkness.
Mhm.
Same thing happens here. Has a flare moment,
Yeah.
just disappears, which I found was hilarious because Duncan's like, hey, come follow me. And then he's like literally just laying there about to die. And then he's free. He's fine. And he's still waving flares. Like, and the thing didn't follow him. So I'm like, okay, I guess he's
I
safe.
think I'm just gonna play devil's advocate with this one. I think this thing did not want to go into the deeper water. Probably
That's yeah,
yeah,
that's probably fair.
I think it was afraid of the deeper water. But
Yeah.
to go back on that with the apatosaur, um this doesn't really add to what we're saying, but the one thing that really bothered me, that poor animal had graffiti on it.
Oh no, did it really? I
Yeah,
didn't
on the
notice.
back of its legs, somebody did a throwy graffiti piece that really like I know it's just a movie, but that pissed me off. Not like I'm not pissed off at the movie. I was
In
pissed off like,
world, like
what?
yeah.
Like who would do that to a living being? Like, man, it reminded me of did you did you watch Hey Arnold growing up?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you remember the one with the tortoise where they rescue the tortoise, him and his grandmother? They
I
and that
forget.
tortoise has graffiti on it. They would throw cups at him and everything.
Oh,
It reminded me of that. And I was like, "Oh
it's
man." And
terrible.
that made me and that little moment right there, I'm like, "Yeah, that's how we would treat them." Yeah, yeah, pretty much. But it was but other than that, the whole thing what you said about like the dinosaurs dying out, I can see some of that happening for the simple fact that like back then their lungs and their hearts they definitely need more oxygen. We don't have the same percentage of oxygen that they had back in Cretaceous and
Sure.
Jurassic or whatever. But all of them, I don't know about that either, like definitely like Compsognathus and smaller ones would definitely be all in the forest in United States and the world, you know
Mhm.
and how is it that they've been surviving from Fallen Kingdom, Dominion, and they were surviving for a great amount of time, and then all of a sudden they're like now dying out years later. I feel that's more on humanity than the dinosaurs themselves, you know?
Yeah, it could be. I but speaking of the compies, by the way, I love the compy design, like the coloring, fantastic. It was like a black and red kind
Yeah.
of design. I thought that was really cool. I wish they did that with the T-Rex. I wish
Just
the T-Rex was more differentiated from the other ones. But going back to the dinosaurs dying off and everything, they didn't really give me any validation as far as like, okay, dinosaurs are dying off, but also moving to the equator. And then we also have this factory floor, this original facility. So there's two mentalities here, right? There is an island of very dangerous creatures that was created by InGen, and it's left alone. But there's also this idea that dinosaurs are migrating to the equator. We never really see that whole part of the story, the equating or migrating to the equator. That really doesn't play a factor in. There were a lot of moments like that where I'm like, why are we even bothering with this part of the story when it's not really even playing into the story at all? So I wish they kind of would have tightened it up a little bit and just kind of like made it a little bit sleeker and not really had to have all this extra fluff in terms of the story that didn't really do anything. Like for instance, just saying that this was the original factory for the factory for the original park. I'm like, that didn't pay off in any way at all because it wasn't the original park. It was Jurassic World. No. So there was a lot of things like that really frustrate me. I hate sitting here like this and saying this because I liked the movie. I thought it was a good movie. The beginning, like I said, a little slow for me, but like once they actually like got out of the water and onto the island, that's where it started to kick off for me. And I really liked, a lot of the stuff that was happening there. Like you said, walking through the jungle, kind of relaying a lot of cool information. Let's talk about the raft sequence. How'd you like that, dude? Because last night, as of this recording, I released episode 419, and I did a read-through of that part in the novel. Look, I've got the novel right here, and I was reading through that section of the novel, and I recorded it, and I threw a bunch of audio behind it, sound effects and stuff, so it sounds like a little audio drama of that little part of the story. And I felt like they did a great job bringing that to life, where like Grant went into the shed, and he's trying to find the raft and he sees, oars up on the thing and he's got, he starts pulling stuff and dragging it across the dock. All of that was exactly the same, the way it unfurls and just, blows up the sleeping T-Rex and then it moves. And did it see her? Did it not see her? Like all that stuff is very similar. And then the T-Rex like literally throws Grant and the kids up in the air and they spin around and all that same stuff happens. And I think the movie did a great job of adding to an already excellent scene from the novel.
Oh yeah, that scene was absolutely phenomenal. My only complaint, but that's because I love Tyrannosaurus. Is like it never shows up again. That was it. I was like, come on. But it was an excellent scene. It had me on edge when she's dragging the raft and everybody's like, stop. And she's like, and moving the thing. And it's just, it was a fantastic scene. Just like it's swimming. It just like you said, it was very well done. It is honestly that, and I know you didn't like you liked more on the island, but that, for me, and the mosasaur scenes are the highlights of the movie for me.
Yeah. No, I like the mosasaur scenes too. I thought they were very good. A lot of like excitement. Even the both of them. The one that was on like the sailboat sequence was really cool, and then the other like ship, sequence was cool too.
Yeah.
But the T-Rex, I wasn't too fussed that it never really showed up again. I kind of liked that it was just like a one and done. We didn't have to focus on that. We focused on other stuff. And I think they showed way too much of that sequence. I saw literally the entire sequence. Yeah. Except for
they
showed
like the whole
pulling
thing.
The stuff out of the dock. Everything
that
in
was
the
it.
boat was everything that we saw. So that was unfortunate. But I think, again, once we get away from the trailer content, once we are months away from this, we'll forget all about that. But that was really cool. Hey man, let's talk about some other fan favorite dinosaurs that show up in this movie as one of the guys relieving himself in the jungle. What a scene. We get the return, or not even a return. I guess they were brand new versions of velociraptors stalking him in the background as he's relieving himself in the jungle. 2 velociraptors off in the distance, blurry, can't even barely see him. What'd you think?
That is where I turned and looked at my girlfriend and said, "I hate this."
Oh.
I was so pissed at that scene. You get to see the raptor, they're so blurry, you can't even, like, whatever they show in marketing and then the toys, I couldn't see anything. It was just like, you knew there were raptors by the way they're walking,
Mhm.
to stalking him, and then those freaking things, the Mutodon comes down, kills him one shot, boom, done, and I was like, "There's no way," and I'm expecting, like, later on, when they do more of the Mutodon scenes with them in that gas station, I was expecting the Raptors to come out and, like, take them out as a group or something, but that was it.
Dude, oh, that
That's
would have been
all
so
you saw
sick.
of the Raptor. That's all you saw of the Raptors. I was like, "Why even put them in marketing?" That was like my, um that was let's put it this way, that was my JP3 Tyrannosaurus Spino moment in this film for me. Because it took a classic character that I love and just destroyed it with this thing that, like, I'm gonna say it right now.
Dude.
I hated the Mutodons. Do not like them. I don't. I was. It's a bad idea. It's the.
What's a bad idea?
It's like this. It's like it was the worst idea in the long, sad history of bad ideas, and I'm gonna be there when you see it. Like it
Oh my god.
was, dude.
Dude, I'm realizing how much that was a JP3 moment, and you've very much solidified that comment for me.
Mm-hmm,
That's hilarious, and I feel so bad because yeah, you're actually right. Like the new guy in town comes in, kills off the old fan
mm-hmm,
favorite, and that's it. At least the T-Rex got a little bit of something in JP3. In this
mm-hmm.
movie, the Raptors got nothing,
Nothing.
dude. And I think if
Nothing.
they, like you said, if a pack of them saw, like if we saw like just a sequence with no humans but the dinosaurs, like a pack of raptors stalking the Mutodons, seeing what they did to their buddies, you know,
Mhm.
seeing the dead corpse, you know, at the gas station or whatever. They flew it to a nest or something, and then they stalked them and found them at the gas station and like mauled them and technically saved the family and the kids. That would have been sick, dude. But they didn't do that. So we
Yeah,
got
no, it
Mutodons,
was
which by the way, I know you hate them. I thought they were really cool,
yeah.
but they're just an alternate version of a raptor, and
Yeah.
I get it because we're on this mutant island, and there are a lot of like really interesting, like cool creatures that are, you know, on this island that we didn't really hear about or know about too much before going into this movie. There's a lot of things I don't know what the heck half of them were. Um,
Yeah.
so there's a lot of
Especially
that stuff going on. But here's another one. Here we got the Mutodons and the Distortus, and I thought the Mutodons were done really well. They were really scary, really cool, but it was just a sub for a Raptor, and I think a
it
Raptor would
was.
have been cooler in the end.
I felt that you we honestly, it was just kinda like another, I don't know who came up with that idea, if it was David Koepp or Spielberg, and I feel it was Spielberg because Spielberg wants to keep making these things more monstrous. It's him. It's Spielberg, guys. Imma tell you right now, it is not the directors, it's Spielberg. He's been wanting to make mutants and human hybrid dinosaurs and stuff like that since, like, 1998, okay? Chaos Effect was his idea. He a lot of fans blame everybody else, but it is the guy that did the first two. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. And it's like these things were not needed. They were not needed. We could have seen them in like the canisters or whatever, or maybe one breaks out while they're in the lab, and that'd be fine. But they substituted them for the Raptors. They gave the Raptors this really cool look in the marketing. People were happy to see JP3 Raptors again, and you don't even see them. So I know that's not gonna be something the fans are gonna like. I know there's gonna be uproar about
Mm,
that. There is
yeah.
another thing that I was gonna say earlier, just remembered. There's gonna be an uproar for the paleo nerds for this. Remember when they're in the museum and you got Henry Loomis? He's a paleontologist, right? So he should know the difference between a dinosaur, a pterosaur, and a marine reptile. And he goes, the three largest dinosaurs. That's a dinosaur. That's a dinosaur. I know that's going to piss off the paleo nerds. They're going to be
Yeah.
so mad because they're like, that's not a dinosaur. That's,
You're
and
probably right. Yeah, it didn't
it is what
phase
it
me at
is.
all, but you're probably
It
right.
didn't it didn't phase me. I didn't care. I know what they are. It doesn't bother me, whatever. But I know that's gonna. And the other thing as well, um, I like the look of the cats, right? But I do feel like I thought this was more of the mutant one, and the one that we got in Dominion was more like the realistic looking animal. But then you see the fossils in the museum, and it has that hook, and I'm like, oh, so yeah, that's just retcon the whole design. They made it. That's what they look like
Yeah,
in this world, which
yeah.
was
I
weird.
mean, we can say that, like, well, no, we can't even say, because like we had the 65 million years ago scene in Dominion, which had like the design from Dominion, right? It obviously had that design,
Yeah.
Kets. So
Hmm.
it didn't have this design. So I had assumed, like, okay, maybe that was the Biosyn design or something, but like they
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
make you believe that this was the design with the fossils there. But I don't really know what's going on there. I thought it was really convenient that he had the exact 3 fossils right there that he needed to talk about. So that was
uh,
funny. All right, so going back to the hybrids or the mutants and stuff,
yeah. Yeah. Sorry.
I like
Sorry. I
them.
went on a little tangent, but yeah.
No, you're good, because we're going all over the place. But I like the mutants. I just wish it was a different creature there. But the
Mhm.
D-Rex, we described a little bit about the lab sequence and how that was a little bit confusing and stuff. It
Mhm.
looked really cool in that sequence, but I didn't really get. I thought maybe we'd see like a progression of this creature from like a smaller age to like, or younger
Mhm.
age to what we see in this at the end of the movie. Didn't really get that, but I thought the way it was used was really, really cool. It looked awesome. I thought it was cool.
Yeah. It didn't look
There was
bad.
really no further details about it. We don't really know anything about how it was made, what was the process, what happened, what went wrong, did something go wrong? I don't know.
Mhm.
It's just as D-Rex. I don't think they call it Distortus at all, do they? Maybe somebody mentions it or something in
I
the beginning, but
I
I didn't
think
hear it.
I think they mentioned it in the beginning where something distorted when they were all in lab coats. Somebody says something
Maybe.
about it. But
I'll have to pay attention next time.
my whole thing was too, like, when you're introduced, like, outside of the intro, let's make pretend the intro, it happened, whatever, but they don't really, like, give you, like, foreshadowing of this creature at all. It's like they're in the lab, and then you see this big thing walk across, and it's a T-Rex. It would have been cool to see, like, huge claw marks on the side of a wall, or, like, huge footsteps and be like, "That's not a Tyrannosaur, what is that?" And
Yeah.
it would build up
Well,
that tension where, like, all of a sudden when it finally shows up, they're like, "That's what's been following us, or that's what lives in this area." We see the claw marks, or see like a carcass of like some dinosaur completely like torn apart, where it'd be like, what
yeah.
animal did that, it just
Yeah.
shows up,
Yeah.
and then it it's crazy looking or whatever. It kills Martin Krebs or whatever, right? And it
Mhm.
destroys the helicopter, but
Oh, that was
in a
sick, by
way,
the way. That was cool.
it, that was really cool, but it in the end, really, to build up this creature, it didn't do much. To
Mhm.
me, it didn't. I felt like it just kind of showed up and was like, "Hey, this is my house. Get out." And then it just was like, "All right, you guys are
Yeah.
leaving. Peace." And that was it. And I
Yeah.
felt like the helicopter scene was great because it showed how big this thing is and how it just like came out of nowhere. Where they had like the helicopter in his mouth.
Oh,
I was
dude,
like,
that was
"Oh man!"
awesome. Dude, the helicopter light, you just see the light and through the fog, and then all of a sudden you just see it in the like chomping on it and stuff. I don't know how it didn't chop its head off or something with the blade, but like it survived. But that was really, really awesome. The size of that thing was crazy incredible. That was really cool.
Hmm.
But I was thinking about it, and it's like it's kind of treated a lot like the Spinosaurus in JP3, where they're like, I wonder what engine was cooking up. Oh, I think he says that in Jurassic World, but like,
Hmm.
I wonder what else was on InGen's list. So,
Hmm.
and that's about it. That's about all we get from any
Hmm.
kind of description about that creature, right? There's really nothing. And that's kind of the way they treated this. But I think the difference is that that's a real real-ish dinosaur. The Spinosaurs maybe like they do in this movie a little bit, but
Yeah, yeah.
we believed it because it's a dinosaur. This one, I feel like you can't use the same premise. You have to explain a little bit. So I
Hmm.
wish there were more explanations in
It's
regards
it's
to the Distortus.
it's especially with having Henry Loomis on there. I would have felt that Henry Loomis would be like, they would look at him like, "What dinosaur is that?" And he'd be like, "I have
Dude,
no idea. What is
no
that?" They
mention.
didn't say nothing.
No,
He's just
nobody
like,
mentioned it at all.
no. They were just like, "Oh
I
yeah,
just
look at that
realizing
thing.
that.
All
That's
right."
hilarious.
No, they didn't. They didn't say anything about it. They were just like running away from it. That's it.
Wow.
And the
Okay.
Mutadons. And they didn't even mention anything about the Mutadons either. They cut a scene out, if you notice, like in the previews, where Henry Loomis is like, "I think they're velociraptors," right? You don't hear that in the movie. It's cut
Oh,
out.
yeah. Yeah, you're right. Well, yeah, I think they caught a lot of raptor
They
stuff. I
did.
think there was
They
supposed to be raptor
definitely cut
sequence
a
there,
lot of
but they cut
stuff.
it. Yeah, and
Yeah,
I mean, I thought the movie felt long, like a good length. If it felt like it was appropriately length, like I didn't feel like it was like running low on time or anything. Or I was like, man, this is going on for quite a while. I thought it would have been like ended already,
Mhm.
but kept going. And unfortunately, like I said, like most of the scenes you'd already seen them all by the time
Mhm.
like maybe once they start hitting the tunnels and stuff underneath, and then like after they Zora shoots the gun a little bit down there, then most of that stuff was kind of fresh, but it was only like 10 minutes
Yeah.
of time. Um but yeah, I thought that was good. The Duncan, taking the flare, obviously nice, allusion to Jurassic Park, very much the exact same thing. I
Mhm.
fully thought he was going to die there. And I actually thought, dude, I thought they were killing off Henry Loomis like earlier on with that fall off the cliff. I was like, "Oh my god, dude.
Yeah,
He
I
just
thought they were
fell
gonna
off this
kill him
cliff."
too.
But he literally
Mhm.
just fell into some trees and then the water, and I was like, okay. I guess he's got a maybe he'll have like a Billy moment here and he'll show up later on." But no, that didn't happen at all.
No.
They all just rappelled right down and walked down the tunnel. But yeah, I thought the ending was interesting. It ended in a little bit, of a Jurassic Park way where they got the birds flying, right? But in this time they just got some dolphins or something floating
Dolphins,
away. So
yeah.
there's no
Uh-huh.
no tease really of the future at all. I think they said they left it a little bit open, but I mean the only thing they left open is that all of this still exists, and
Yeah.
I guess we can go back and revisit the D-Rex at some point. But like you said, there was no furthering of anything. It really didn't tell us much more of anything. It just kind of it was like from point A to point B, get there, get in, out, and then leave. And they accomplished their ultimate goal of getting all of the DNA. But
Mhm.
I like the like the moral of the story at the end was like, all right, who do we give this to? Like, what do we do with this? We give it back to the people. I thought that was a
Mhm.
nice little sentiment at the end there.
Yeah, I like that too. I just felt like in a way it was more like an isolated story, like JP3 was, where it
Hmm.
just kind of ends and it's just that. Or like, do you remember when you first saw Jurassic Park and it ended, and you always had this thought like, how would they continue it? I remember that as a little kid. I was just like, how would they continue? How would Jurassic Park 2 be? Like, would they make one? Like, where's it go from here? And they came up with a clever way to do a second one, right? But this one just feels like, where do you go from here? Like, what's the next chapter, if there is a next chapter? Um, because everything was kind of left to
Yeah,
be,
everything.
like,
Well,
the D-Rex is still running around there, like,
yeah.
the Mutadons are still like, what, I think, like, 1, 2, like, one of them's still alive, right? I think?
At least,
One
yeah.
was
I don't
still
know how
alive?
many. There was like at least two right at the very
Yeah,
end
I think there was
there.
2, yeah.
But I don't know. But dude, it just like I was joking about this because when my wife went to go see it, I was like livid in the car about connecting dots and how they've never really done it. I was like yelling to myself, just like, what are they doing? Why can they not ever connect these dots? Um, because to me, it's like, you said, what do they do next? And I'm like, here's what they do next. Guess what? There's another research facility that was for the
Yeah.
original park. And you're like, that's what they keep doing over and over again. That's what the Lost World was.
Mhm.
It was like, hey, we didn't just make the dinosaurs there. We also made them here and this original facility. And then you're like, oh, okay, that's really cool. There was a secret other island that was the original facility. And then like Fallen Kingdom comes around and it's like, well, actually, no, they made them here in Lockwood Estate in the basement. That's where the dinosaurs were originally made, or some of them at least. And then this movie's like, guess what? We got the original facility. And you're like, how many facilities are there? Like, how many original facilities? Like, I don't want them to do that again. I hope they, I guess, you know, find a way to tell more stories around this equator business, because that's what was unexplored in this movie. We know what's going on with this island. We can always go back there in another movie, but I would like to see what's going on with the dinosaurs that are migrating. But I think this island's so expansive. It seems like I don't really know how big it is, but it seems huge. I mean, that scene with the Titanosaurs was really, really beautiful, but it was exactly the like Jurassic Park scene. It had the same music, you know, all that kind of stuff. And it was beautiful, though. It was a really nice sequence. And I like that it was like more up close and personal. Henry got to touch the dinosaur. He, you know, brought a tear to his eye. That was really sweet. And all the while, it was funny because like it's like a really sweet, nice moment. The Jurassic Park theme's playing, and then here's Zor like whoosh, just shoots it in the leg or the neck or something, and then I was like, dude, like chill, man. How are you gonna go and shoot that thing right when Henry's standing right underneath it, man? Chill. But I thought that was fun, actually. The way that the DNA went in and then it propelled out.
Yes,
with a little
yes,
parachute.
I
That
love
was great.
that.
That was
That
awesome.
was cool. And like Duncan captures it. He's like, boop,
Yeah,
got it. Capture the flag.
and
That
there was some
idea
fun
was
with that too.
awesome.
You know?
But I love that scene as well, and I love that the two were like a mating pair where they're like, you know, like rubbing up on each other and stuff like that. It was very, very cutesy, very, very beautiful scene, and all of them start migrating towards the other side of the island. But yeah, it's like that's the question that's left is like, where do we go from here? And the thing is, like, I hate to say this, but I think we do need a break for a bit from them making another film. Like, give it some time or whatever, because they really got to think of where to go next. It kind of like Fallen Kingdom, or was it Fallen Kingdom? Yeah, Fallen Kingdom left us kind of in a certain bind where the dinosaurs were out in the world, right? Dominion didn't capitalize on that as much as it should have, because then what happened? It's a new facility, a new sanctuary, and biosyn, blah blah. They didn't. What Chaos Theory did was perfect because it showed the dinosaurs reacting and interacting with people every day, like the Suchomimus in Africa, eating the hippos and stuff like that. That's cool. That's what I want to see more of that. Isolated events would be really good. Like, to go from what we're seeing right now and that the dinosaurs are around the equator, they showed that some of them are in South America. They showed that some of them are in Central America and on the Caribbean islands and so on, right? The equator area. Having stories come out where it's like isolated events to like farming town, small town, local town, stuff like that would be great. But that's something that people wanted from Dominion and didn't really get. And I know most fans, it didn't leave a sour taste in my mouth, but most fans were left with a sour taste in the mouth when they were hoping for battle at Big Rock, and what we got was Biosyn Valley, you know? So they kind of missed that opportunity there to show it on film. And Chaos Theory kind of fleshed that out, but it is an animation. Not everybody watched it. And you're not going to... So people like more real hands-on, like actors and whatnot, film, right? With this one, you're left with what we're saying. Where do you go? And I think that's the question that's on my mind. That's like constantly there. It's like, where do you go from here? Like, there can't be another facility. Like, that's just redundant. Like, we keep making more and more facilities. I don't know. I just feel like maybe this is it. You know?
It's run its
I don't know.
course.
I think it has, man.
Survival's a long shot. Yeah.
Love that line.
I
Love that
love that
line.
line was not even in reference to them on that island.
I
It was
know.
just
It
in
was
reference
about
to
humanity.
humanity, which was crazy. He's like, I give ourselves a million years, or whatever he said. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. I think let me talk a little bit about characters real quick because I thought
Oh yeah, let's go
Henry
to that. Yeah.
Loomis was. I liked the character. He was a little confusing. I'm not sure Jonathan Bailey like knew what accent he wanted to use the whole time, but like, but he was a confusing character because he's like treated as this like geeky scientisty guy, right? But then he's also willing to just run straight head on into a lot of danger, and he's nervous up on top of that cliff, but also just goes right over the edge, no problem. And he's like rappelling like really far down. So I'm like very confused at the character. I think Zora Bennett could have been done a little bit like handled a little bit better. I didn't really know anything about her. And I didn't know why she was picked for this mission. Why is she good at her job? I don't really know anything about why she's the one for this task, other than she's part of some Black Ops stuff before, I guess. But like, I don't really know anything about her. I think Martin Krebs was pretty well defined. I got him. He made a lot of sense to me. Like I said, that one moment where Teresa goes off the edge, that was all I needed to understand what kind of guy he is. I thought the family was great. I really enjoyed them, except for the boyfriend. I was like, I don't know. I don't really care for the boyfriend all that much. I was like, he could either be like annoying or like kind of like lazy and a jerk, but they've just made him both things. They made him like lazy and a jerk, but they could have just chose one. I wish they just chose one of those things, because I most of the time I was like, dude, this guy doesn't make any sense. He's like so annoying and rude the whole time. I'm like, really? Would he do that for sure? But the family themselves, I really enjoyed them, and I thought they were very sweet together. And yeah, the little girl was awesome with
Dolores.
Dolores. Yeah, that was great. Love Dolores.
Yeah, it was a cute little addition. My girlfriend kept saying, "Oh, she's like a little kitty."
Yeah.
Dolores.
Just wanted some snacks, just following around the entire island. How did you get here, Dolores?
I honestly liked, and this is gonna sound, this is gonna divide a little bit, but I honestly liked this ensemble of characters than honestly most of the World films, the World trilogy. I really liked these characters. They felt more real to me. I understand what you're saying, like knowing more of the history, but I was fine knowing like that's what she specialized in. I like Zorro's character. My favorite was Loomis throughout the movie, and Martin Krebs is basically, there's certain scenes that it's basically Dotson from Lost World book. Like when Dotson when he purposely throws Sarah Harding off the boat, that's literally that scene.
Exact same thing. That was awesome. Yeah.
The only character that I did find, like, honestly, too, I found the older daughter annoying, and I found the boyfriend annoying. Both of them were like, she's running to a guy with a gun in his hand. Like, what that's when Duncan's like, dude, don't run into a person with a gun in the hand. Like, yeah, like, what are you doing, man? He got that gun. And now that makes me think, when he grabs that gun from that dead pilot in the helicopter, is that a reference to the D-Rex? Did the D-Rex, like, is he used to destroying helicopters? Like, is that our little, like, oh, there's something big on this island? But it doesn't really, I don't know. Because it seems like the thing stays around where it was made. Because, like in a trailer, they make you think like it's out in the forest somewhere. Remember when they did that roar that was like all messed up? That T-Rex roar was like,
yeah.
You don't hear that. You don't hear that at all. That was just, they did a lot of like stuff in the trailers, the early ones, where they showed us something and then it wasn't really that in the movie. But then they went back and started showing it what it really was. Remember when we saw the two-headed raptor? That's not in the film at all. Then
Yeah.
they changed it to the Mutadon because I guess they were filling in for the Mutadon, but they should just kept that secret. And they
Yeah.
shouldn't have said anything about it. And I just didn't like the amount of screen time that the Mutadons got. If they had a little screen time when they were in the lab, I would appreciate it more. But they took that screen time completely away from how we said before, the Raptors. Now,
Yeah.
the character, like I said, I loved Henry Loomis. Um, I feel that Scarlett did an awesome job. It's just like her character was not like my. I related more to Henry Loomis, but I also loved Duncan. He felt a little bit
He's
like
great.
almost
Yeah.
like he felt like almost like a very this is not totally, but a little bit like Quint from Jaws when they were like in the
Hmm.
boat kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that whole sequence is very Jaws, you know?
Oh, for sure.
There's
Yeah.
there's there's inspiration from Jaws in that. I like the chemistry between Loomis and Zara. They just keep like play flirting and kind of one upping each other the whole time.
Yeah. That
I
was
liked it.
interesting.
I
It it
personally
def
liked it.
it definitely felt like they were like maybe trying to brew a romance there at some point, like maybe in the future or something. But yeah, there was something going on there. A lot of looks, a lot of heavy
Yeah.
looks at the two of them.
I mean,
But
I'll s- I'll say this right now. That felt more of a romance to me than some
Owen and
scenes
Claire.
with Owen and Claire. I never like there's certain moments where like
Yeah.
I feel like in Jurassic World it felt more real, and then the other two it felt forced, where I didn't like it, where I just didn't feel they had that chemistry. You know, especially in Dominion. I was just kind of like I've watched it over and over again, and I'm just like I just don't see it.
Hmm.
And one of the things I liked Maisie in Fallen Kingdom, I hated her in Dominion. I did not like her character in Dominion. She just
Yeah.
it just
Just
every
annoying teenager.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you're not my mother, Claire. I'm go out of town. Like shut up. Like what do you and where'd she get that accent from? She was living in California, I guess from her the
The
sitter that she had. I don't
Yeah,
know.
from
Anyways,
her family there, I guess, and her, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I thought I liked Zora. I really did. I thought she was comical and she made me
yeah,
laugh a
yeah.
few times, chuckle, and I thought she was obviously extremely good at her job. But I just wish there was a little bit more to her story. Like I said earlier,
Mhm.
when the two of them sat down and explained like, oh, like this thing happened to me or me and this other guy in Yemen, and he blew up in a car bomb or something like that. I was like, okay, this stinks. This is a terrible story. But like, I just wish there was more context to her character a little bit. That
Yeah,
I don't know.
that
That
whole
didn't give me a lot.
conversation that whole conversation dialogue felt a little off. It was like
Hmm.
almost like we have to do this. Put it in there, you know?
Yeah, that's what a lot
It
of the
didn't feel
dialogue felt like
organic.
to me in the beginning. Yeah, a lot of it felt that way, a little stunted and just kind of like just putting it in there because we have to learn something. But I think a lot of the rest of it felt pretty natural and everything. But at that point, it's just like fast paced and everybody's running through the jungle.
Mhm.
Um, but
The set pieces are beautiful.
dude,
All
set
the set
pieces really nice.
wow, wow. That jungle cuz I think that was there anything filmed on stage? I think it was all filmed on location, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm assuming there was some
Maybe the
stuff.
gas
I
station. The
can't.
gas station's
Gas
probably a
station
stage.
could have been. I don't know. Um, yeah, they I'm sure people had a big issue with the gas powered Jeep, which was, considerably older, just starting up with a new battery in Jurassic World. I wonder if people have the same issue with this
Yeah.
electric Jeep thing, starting up because, they made it. I feel like it was like a big deal behind the scenes that this was like an electric Jeep. There was an electric station there. It wasn't, you could see it, the plug like laying on the ground in the movie,
Mhm.
but like they made no mention of it really at all. And I thought it was silly. Like, I guess the alarm was blaring just so the D-Rex would go find it, but that
Mhm.
thing kept blaring. Also, dude, how'd you feel about like there were like two songs in the middle of this movie? There was like a song on the boat. I forget what was used, and then there was the stand by me, I think, or something used in the gas station. I was like, this feels
Yeah,
different. This is not extremely
that's a
Jurassic. I mean, I know we've
that's
had Big Hat, No Cattle, and we've had some other
Oh,
songs here and there, but, like, in bars, that's about it.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that song took me out of the element. I was like, "What the hell is this?" I was I was just taken back because you said earlier as well, there's some, some of the soundtrack hits and some of it fell off, and I would have to see it again to tell you exactly which moments, but there was moments where I'm like, "This doesn't sound Jurassic," or "This sounds completely like a different movie," the music, that and I'm
mhm.
not talking about that one like Stand By Me, I'm talking about the actual score. There was,
No,
like
the
I
extra
think it was
score, yeah.
yeah, there was, like, a score, I think, in the boat where it's just like, "Ding, ding, 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 ding," or something like that, and I was like,
Well, I wonder if
what
they
is
were
this?"
trying to take a lot of cues from Jaws there because there's a lot of Jaws score moments that it's, like, way happier because all you think about with Jaws is dun, dun, bum,
Dun,
bum,
dun,
but, like, a
dun,
lot of
dun.
Jaws is like do 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 it's just, like, very fun fanfare stuff, so
Yeah, yeah,
I
you're
think they were
right, you're
probably
right.
trying to reference that kinda
Mhm,
thing more so. So, for me, the score, like, fell a little flat, I guess, in the beginning portion. It really wasn't, like, selling the movie for me, but there
mhm,
wasn't a lot to do, I guess, in the beginning, um but I think they did a good job. He used a lot of Jurassic Park themes, nothing, that I can remember from, like, Jurassic World era stuff.
yeah, it's all Jurassic.
Maybe yeah, I don't think so, though.
Like, little
And
Easter
very
eggs
on
here
the
and there.
nose. Very on
Oh,
the
yeah,
nose with the
like,
score. It was
ob like, scenes as well, like, objects may appear closer than they are, like, literally the first scene you see Martin Krebs is
mm.
the side view mirror, and it's like, oh, there's little Easter eggs of that too in certain
The
scenes.
There was the moment where he's like, somebody says, "Oh, like, what's that noise?" "Oh, it's probably the generator trying to come back on." It's, like, literally
Yeah,
quite literally
yeah.
the power trying to come back on, but it was not the T-Rex,
Uh-huh.
it was the D-Rex. Um, and then, like I said, pushing the candy away, it was like, "What a complete slob." Like, that's the
Yeah.
that's the vibe I got from that. There was a lot of little references here and there. There was, some wire sounds, like the snapping of the wires. Um, but yeah, I can't remember them all, but there was some references here and there. Oh, there was the
Mhm.
Crichton Middle School or something like that on a school bus in the very beginning of the movie when they're
Really?
driving around the city.
Oh, I
They
didn't see
pass
that.
by the Crichton Middle School. And I was like, "Oh," I was like pointing at like that's cool. Nice little Easter egg. Um I think there was something else. I just can't really put a finger on what it was. It's like not like we were sitting in there taking notes, but I think we've been pulling a lot of the movie out of nowhere. So,
Mhm.
any other big things that happened that you can think of we should talk about before we head out? Hmm.
Um, Let me think. Scene. I mean, there's a lot less dinosaurs than I feel I was expecting. I think they held off, and I guess that's not really a problem, but when you come from the World trilogy where dinosaurs are in your face every 5 seconds, and this one there's actual moments in between, it goes back to that Jurassic formula, which I like, but it's almost
I
like,
liked. Yeah.
it it's almost like when you're coming off of that trilogy, and you're used to that always coming up, ba, 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 And with this one, there's moments when they're walking, and you feel like something's gonna pop out, and nothing pops out. And as well, remember when they were in the water in the swamp and those tentacles came out? What the hell was that?
What was
What
that?
was
I
that?
don't know.
Yeah,
I have no
they
idea,
never
dude.
they
Big snake
and
thing?
like
I don't know.
yeah, it was they show it a little, then they show it again, and then you think it's that, like, salamander lizard that was, like, crawling around, remember, with the little fin? I
Yeah.
thought at first, I was like, "Is that a baby Spinosaurus?" I'm like, "Nah, it doesn't nah, never mind." But the one in the water, like, the first time you see that, you see the sails, so it was that, it's an amphibious creature, right? And I've seen 'em
Yeah.
in, like, dinosaur documentaries and all that, and I guess they weren't just cloning dinosaurs, they were cloning everything because when they go to
Yeah.
that marina, you see a donkey, it's called a oh, man, I'm gonna butcher this name, but it's
Donkey?
called, like, Donka Donkala man, I'm butchering. It's a giant
Dunkelus. Yeah,
yes,
I
it's
think I know
that
what you mean.
giant armored fish. You see his face inside with like, remember when they catch that?
Uh,
So that whole area is just
maybe.
infested with prehistoric life,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
it gives it kind of a Kong Skull Island feel. you
I
know?
was getting a lot of Kong Skull Island feels for sure, and even the
Mhm.
music too. There was like score moments where he wasn't doing Jurassic Park stuff; he was doing like unique stuff. I was like, this feels like it's just giving me Kong Skull Island vibes. Um, but I like that about it. I think
Mhm.
it looked like a surreal environment, and it looked really interesting. I liked that there was like a little green flying thing. It had like
Yeah,
wings
yeah,
on.
yeah.
That was interesting. There was like a tiny pteranodon looking guy that was
Yeah,
in the
baby.
cage in Suriname. That was pretty cool.
Mhm.
And
There's a
what else?
megalodon, like, jaws in
That
there, so,
the
like,
Jaws,
remember
yeah.
yeah, like, Duncan says that, he's like, "Well, you don't wanna get caught in one of these," and I'm like, "So wait, does that confirm megalodon is out in Jurassic area now?" Like,
I
it's
don't know,
confirming all
man.
these, like but,
I
I
know
don't
the
know.
T-Rex jaws are not sharp enough to puncture through a boat, so that's one thing he could not get through that boat.
Yeah, that was a little off to me, that it didn't pop the raft, and at first, like, when he was, like, pressing down, I'm like, "Oh, he's just pressing down," but then you see him actually chomp on it, and it's
Yeah.
like, "Wait, it's" I'm like, "Okay, we're going back to Jurassic Park 3 era where it can't bone crush, I guess, when it bites,"
But I
'cause
liked I like that they put the youngest daughter in peril. Like it felt like Jurassic
yeah,
Park, where
uh-huh,
you think about Jurassic Park. Obviously, no kids were harmed, or well, they were harmed, I guess, a little bit, but they didn't
yeah,
die. They were put in terrible situations multiple times, and that's what happened here.
mhm.
And I was like, okay, yeah, we're doing the right thing.
I
That's this feels Jurassic.
That's one thing that I really love too, you felt the danger. You
Hmm.
felt the danger with these characters because I did not think the one guy that was still alive after most of the crew was taken out when they're on the cats area and
Oh,
then when they're pulling him
dude,
up and he's in his mouth, that completely took me
dude,
by surprise. I was like,
same.
"Oh my god." I was like,
That was
"Wow."
amazing. He just gobbled them
The
up. That was amazing. Yeah.
the beach Spinosaurus that gets the girl, that
Oh,
was
so good.
not expected. The guy dying by the cats was not expected. The guy that dies on the boat, that was spoiled. And Martin Krebs
Yeah.
dying, that was spoiled because
Yeah,
Mark
I didn't see any of those beforehand, so I got lucky there, I
I
guess.
was spoiled to me, man. I saw that like cuz over the course of time, it's just I just kept seeing more and more TV spots on my reel on my like
Yeah.
timeline and I'm like,
I
"Oh,"
just
and I
kept
tried
going, dude.
skipping.
Just
I
keep
kept
going.
skipping. But some of them would have, like, a pivotal scene just pop up first, like
Ah.
the one with Martin Krebs and the D-Rex, like, breaking down the car, like, stomping down on it. Dude, I saw that
Oh,
maybe, like,
really?
2 days ago. I saw that 2 days
Dang.
ago. I was
Yeah.
like, "No way." And I saw him leaving with the suitcase, driving away in the car by himself. I'm like, "Oh, he's the bad guy," which I kinda thought he would be,
Yeah.
but they didn't have to confirm it for me, you know? I was like,
No,
"Come on."
I was wondering if they would like twist it a little bit where he would end up being a good guy or just a morally gray guy, but like
Mhm.
Jonathan Bailey would be like the bad guy. I thought like he was gonna have a twist, but he didn't have a twist. Initially, I
No.
thought Duncan was gonna be the bad guy. He was a good guy all the way through, and that moment I don't know if I said it, but like um that moment where Henry Loomis initially like was like who should we give this stuff to? I think he said it like once in the middle of the movie and then
Yeah,
obviously at the end.
yeah. Mhm.
That part in the middle, I was like, okay, he's gonna be a good guy here. There's no way
Yeah.
he's gonna have a twist or anything like that. So, but yeah, I think, yeah, I don't know. I feel like we covered most of it, right? Do you
Oh,
got
yeah,
anything
we
else? I
definitely
think,
did.
and I
We
feel
definitely
bad
did.
because I did have a good time with it. I didn't. It wasn't like this, you know, fun-loving romp that I've had with, like, some of the other Jurassic movies, but, like, I still had a good time with it, and I still really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to watch it again. So
You
I
know
really enjoyed what I saw, but I just have a lot of criticisms about it, so
you know what it is, man? I feel like if this movie woulda came out when the original trilogy came out, it would fit better, but since we have been, um, I'm not gonna say indoctrinated, but since we have been, like, shown
yeah,
the World
yeah.
trilogy, it clashes, you know?
Mhm.
This movie fits with the original trilogy. It fits well, I feel. That's why, when I was going home, I was thinking of it, I'm like, I it does not. like I have to see it again to really give it an official ranking, in my head, but I feel that it feels like a way better Jurassic Park 3 for me. Like if this was like,
Oh yeah, for sure.
you know what I mean? If Jurassic Park 3 was not like throwing the script out, and cuz it has a lot of moments and set pieces, and I feel like people that love Jurassic Park 3 might actually like this film for the simple fact that it kind of parallels it a little bit. Um, the criticisms that I have is that these set pieces that we're talking about, the facility, the island, this and that, would fit so much better with the other ones. But since we were given 3 Jurassic World movies, it doesn't fit with that. When this is the timeline that Jurassic World set after the original trilogy. And you
Mhm.
remember as well that there are things that they really, really bother me about Jurassic World trilogy. The simple fact that they said, "Oh, we took all the Sorna doesn't have any dinosaurs on it." I'm like, come on. That right there always kind of threw me off. I was like, that's so dumb. What it was supposed to be a sanctuary, and then the biggest one, uh, oh yeah, M- Mr. Hammond told me with his dying wish to create Jurassic World. I'm like, dude, that never
Yeah.
happened. Come on, dude. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
when they set those set pieces and made that canon, it kind of makes this movie not fit within that world, and
Mhm.
that's why it's kind of jarring a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I think we just have to
I don't
find a
know.
way to sit with it and just kind of like
Mhm.
be okay with the fact that it feels like a Jurassic movie that's really not tied to any other Jurassic stuff really all that much. It's just like
I
a Jurassic movie with no ties, no direct ties.
I honestly like if in my own head canon, if I just erase the BS about like this is the original facility, this and that. It felt more Jurassic to me than the last two. Jurassic World felt
Yeah,
Jurassic to
I
me. It
could see
was a
that.
park and everything. And I've had my criticisms about Fallen Kingdom. I never really felt that film was the film that I wanted it to be, but of course that's my own opinion.
Yeah.
I felt the first when they were on the island, it felt Jurassic, but afterwards that haunted house with the dragon and all that Jay Bayona was talking about, like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, that. And I like Jay Bayona. I think I've love a lot of his films that he's made, but he just when he said that he was describing like a princess in a castle with a dragon, I'm like, what are you on, bro? Like, what are you talking about?
That's
This
funny.
is, you know, that's why I know there's people that love Fallen Kingdom and will defend it like crazy. I just don't see it. And I never, and I'll say the same thing I'm saying about the Distortus, Giga, and and the Indoraptor. They didn't do anything really to make them as bad as they were trying to put them out to be. The Distortus did a little more, I feel. The Giga didn't do anything, dude. Like the
Mhm.
Giga's like honestly the victim of Dominion because it didn't
Yeah.
eat anybody. It ate a deer.
It
Um
took the Rex's lunch, dude. That was about it.
that was
Yeah.
about it. And that and and they try to make it this if you watch the movie from the theater, the theater one or whatever, theatrical cut, you'll never understand the big feud that they have. If you watch it
Mhm.
the extended cut and you see the prologue, I I mean, in Jurassic World, I mean, like Jurassic World type of like mentality. Yeah, it's kind of cool that they have like this ancient feud, but in reality, come on, like they remember that from back
Yeah.
then. That was a bit
Nah.
much.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, I love the film. I was happy. I'm pretty happy with it. I do want to see it, and I'm gonna see it on the day it's supposed to come out, July 2nd. I have 2 tickets to see it. Like I'm gonna see it at 7, and I'm gonna see it at 10 with different people. Um, so I'll be able to like really take it in. Like now knowing all the set pieces, I'll be able to analyze it more, and I'll be able to see if I end up liking it more or if I stay the same or if I'm like, no, I hate it. I don't think I'll hate it
Yeah.
though because I saw it and I really enjoyed what I saw. Just that those, like you said, some stuff just doesn't fit and it doesn't connect dots. And it's, But and again, isn't that what Jurassic Park's always been about, man? There's just like they never
Yeah.
connect
Yeah.
anything. It's always
Yep.
just like this, and it's the fans. Again, guys, it's you guys and us always creating these worlds, honestly. We do the brunt and all the work for Universal and all their producers and everything. Like, honestly, we've created that
Yeah.
world. They just taken bits and pieces of it. And then sometimes they use it, and sometimes they're like, "Nah, we're not even gonna use this. We're gonna completely dismiss what you guys like and just do whatever." You know?
Yeah, it's tough because, like, I was saying this in the car, but like on the way home, but like I could connect the dots fully from Jurassic Park to this movie and get everything working on a pretty nice level, but it's not officially stated in the movie, and that's the thing that bugs me is like they could do it. They could get there
Mhm.
and connect these dots, but they just kind of refuse to do it. And the thing that they've refused is doing this from the very beginning. Like
Mhm.
Jurassic Park and the Lost World, they have their issues. Jurassic Park 3 and
Mhm.
Jurassic Park and Lost World, they all have their issues, like all together, all of them. And then the World trilogy, like doesn't fully connect with the others and doesn't connect with each other. Like so they've been doing this the entire time. We just have to get used to it and
Mhm.
just kind of accept it.
Yeah.
So I'm in that phase where I'm just in the acceptance phase where I just gotta like let it go and just deal with it.
Mhm.
So, but I liked it. I did like it, and I think in the coming weeks it'll probably show more. Hopefully, hopefully. Do you think? Let me ask you this
Mhm.
one last question. If Aaron does see it, is he gonna like this one, or no?
No. No, I don't think so. Uh,
I was wondering
you Aaron
if I was a little down, maybe he'll be up on it. I don't know.
No, I think one thing for sure he's gonna agree with me is the Mutadons. He's gonna hate them just like I honestly thought I would like them, but the way they were used and so used in this film made me really dislike them, and especially that scene with the raptors. Because I'm like, dude, come on, at least like show them, at least like show them. Let's say they were like ready to strike on him, and they're like right in his face, and then the mutadon comes around. But to show this thing killing this fearsome predator, and we're finally getting like raptors that want to kill again. Rather, like don't get me wrong, I love Blue and I love the Raptor squad. I was a big fan of that, but I do love the Lost World Raptors, the Savage Raptors. I love the big
Yeah.
one and her team. Those, and then the JP3 Raptors, how smart they were, and the colorization, and to give them that look with a little bit of the
It's a
tiger
mix
stripes
of
on their
both of them.
dude, dude, and they it's just a waste. It's a waste, dude.
Didn't do it.
And it's
Yeah,
like
I don't
and it
understand.
like I mean, like I've said before, like I'm being very selective what I get, and I just don't see myself getting these mutadons when they come out in toy form. I don't care for them. Don't want them. Like even the Distortus,
I'd have one. I
that
don't know.
the raft scene, the raft playset or whatever. Probably that
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
I don't really feel like getting the big one. I don't really care for it. But
yeah.
it wasn't as bad as people think it will be in the movie. The Distortus wasn't as bad. It just sucks that they
No,
really
it was
didn't
cool.
like flesh him out. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like
Well,
nobody mentioned it. Like when
I
we
think
talked about
that's
no.
hopefully in like the future we get Camp Cretaceous Part 3, or Chaos Theory sequel or something that literally dives into all of these things, talks about how the dinosaurs are migrating and talks about uncovering the files of the Distortus and the Mutadons and all that stuff. I think we could eventually get there where DreamWorks is doing the legwork, really trying to connect these dots
Yeah,
like they
and
kind of
that's
have been.
and in the end, that's when I have to kind of I think Aaron mentioned that like that certain things they're leaving it for other media to like explain, and it shouldn't be that way. It should be in the
Yeah.
film. And because like as cool as Chaos Theory was, it's an animation. Like at the end of the day, like I like it, but I want to see real people. I want to see real CGI, real, animatronics. I don't want to always rely on animation that is as much as they kind of like put the rating a little bit up more for like teenagers and adults for Chaos Theory. It's still an animation, and it just like doesn't feel as real as watching it on film with real people. So it just kind
Yeah.
of takes away
Yeah.
from that. In all honesty, they should just stop beating around the bush and actually make a series with real people. We've been saying it for years. It's right there. It's like it's a huge bucket of money for them. If they just concentrate on like HBO or Prime or even Netflix, since Netflix has Chaos Theory, dude, you get real actors and flesh out some of those scenes, that show would be a hit. But I don't know what they're doing sometimes. I feel
They should
sometimes they
take
are.
what do you feel?
No, I just feel like sometimes they just want to get that movie popcorn money, and it's like I get it, but sometimes shows are so good. Like look at Game of
Yeah.
Thrones. Look at what's another one that was Cobra Kai. You know what I mean? Like Cobra Kai is what brought back the Karate Kid movie, the new one. You know what I mean? Like
And
if
then
they just
nobody
came
went to
out.
go see it. Yeah.
No, nobody did. I didn't see it either. I'm so bad. I feel so
Me
bad because I
either. And
love
I
Cobra
loved
Kai.
Cobra Kai. And I
Cobra
love
Kai
all
was
the
so
Karate Kid
good.
movies. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think I think this movie just kind of is in that lane where it's like, oh, we got to get a movie out. It's like, they say a lot of these like superhero deals are based off of like getting a movie out and having a movie in theaters for them to keep
Mm,
obtaining the rights. And that kind of felt like this. It's like, oh, the rights are going to revert to somebody else if they don't make a movie. And they made a good movie, I think, but it just felt like it was just
yeah.
like thrown out there. But I think I'm sad at this point. I don't want to feel sad about it. I like the movie, and I hope I enjoy it more. So, but I'm
I
not gonna
feel
sit here and always be a downer on it. So
I don't. I'm going to be honest. As much as I like this movie, I think it's not gonna do as well as the last three. It's gonna be the JP3.
yeah,
I
I
think
have
so.
honestly no idea.
I don't think it's gonna go to the billion. I think it's.
No,
I
I
mean,
don't
like
think
I
so.
said, Dominion left a lot of bad taste in people's mouths. Um, and I like Dominion. I never been too keen on saying love Dominion, but it's like Jurassic World, love, Fallen Kingdom, meh, Dominion, like, Because there's stuff from Dominion that I absolutely love, but I wanted more from it. And I feel like in this film, I'm always having the same reaction in some sequences. I wanted more. I wanted more like we saw like one plant eater. We saw what is
Well,
it?
the
The
Titanosaurs.
Titanosaur?
There was obviously like Dolores, right? Like she's a plant eater or a
Yeah.
candy eater, cake eater.
Yeah.
And then there was
Ankylosaur's
yeah,
cameo, and that's it.
Bumpy showed up.
That's it.
Yeah, yeah.
Where
I
where
think that was about it. I
where
don't know.
are like
Oh, there
why
was a
is it
two-headed Triceratops baby trike or something
yeah,
in the container, but we
it's
didn't see that.
really really weird.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have to connect with Jurassic World trilogy, they could have showed us in one of the tanks the what is it, the Stegoceratops,
Yeah, that would have been cool.
But they
But
didn't.
like I want some love for the Scorpius, dude. That thing was great. And yo,
That's so
and
funny because
speaking of like, oh, go ahead.
so funny because I hate that hybrid, bro. I don't
I
like
love
that
it.
thing at all.
But
It's like the
listen,
hillbilly of dinosaur hybrids. Like,
but I love it. It's so good. And it does exactly what you wanted to happen in this movie, where throughout that series, you get little hints that something
yeah,
dangerous
yeah,
is out there and you don't know what it is. And dinosaurs are reacting a certain way, like Dolores did, like where
yeah. I
Dolores is
like
like
that.
freaking out a little bit, which I liked. But
Mhm.
they needed to have that happen more throughout the movie in reference
Mhm.
to the D-Rex being out there. I think that would have been
Exactly.
cool. But maybe because it's such a messed up island that everything is super dangerous that they all just kind of coexist. I don't know. They don't care about each other all that
Yeah.
much. But anyway, man, we've been doing this for a little bit, so I'll let you get
Yeah.
some rest. And I appreciate you coming on to talk about this
Of
movie
course,
last
man.
minute here. I was just like, hit you up. I'm like, hey, you want to record? I want to talk about this thing, because I'm sure my
Yeah.
wife only wants to hear so much of me ranting and raving about Jurassic. So, but what are you up to? What's going on? Anything going on? Anywhere people can find you?
You know, nothing really. Like
Starting to sound like
I
Aaron.
want
I hear it.
no, in all honesty, like I just I've been excited for this film, and I've been trying to do things Jurassic, but I've had this crazy artist block for a while. The film itself has kind of opened up my creative juices and inspiration to get back on the horse. That's one thing that I really loved about seeing this movie. That's got me like it's got my brain just going, oh, all these ideas, you know. But it's just been I don't know. We've talked personally, and like I just
Yeah, of
it's
course.
just a lot of crazy stuff going on. Um but honestly, I have the Etsy store up. I have my slime is on for sale. I still have quite a few on there. I've sold actually 2 in the last 2 weeks, which is pretty cool. And
Nice.
I have a bunch of shirt designs that I'm putting up, and I have ones that really feel like the 90s retro Jurassic. Um and hopefully get to do more projects that I'm working on, but it's just it's finding the time, you know.
Yeah,
The world's a
dude.
very busy place right now.
The world's something, and we're getting old, man. We're getting old, so
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
we don't have
Mhm.
time for this. But I
No.
appreciate you joining me. And I feel like with your art style, you could make a pretty killer Mutadon or Distortus Rex. So let's
Dude,
see
I feel
those.
like
Let's see
the
those.
hybrid that I feel like the hybrid I drew like 6 years ago is way better than what they came up with the Mutadon. Like I don't know what was it called? It was I can't
Um,
remember it right now. It had like its mouth opened wide like this. It had kind of wings and like, dude, it was like taking the chaos effect ideas and throwing them into an acid pit and seeing what comes out. It was crazy looking, but it felt really dangerous. The Mutadon just looked like a big cooked chicken or something, Just I didn't like the design,
it-
It just even the
uh,
name Mutadon, come on. Those scientists they were so preoccupied whether they think they should, and they did name it the most like, dude, they could have called it um like I don't know, Terroraptor or like Velocidon or something. Mutadon, really? Like somebody was just sitting in an office. The guy with the Snickers, man, it's his fault. He's so
the Snickers
lazy.
guy.
He's like, I'm gonna call it Mutadon. Like,
Also,
dude,
I can't believe they call this thing Distortus Rex when the initial name I think for like the Indominus was the D-Rex, but it was the
yes, Diabolus Rex.
Diabolus Rex.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't they just do that? That would have been great. Oh, whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
we'll be okay with this movie soon enough. But thank you, dude. We'll talk again soon.
See you, brother.